For years, this state had the reputation of being the place that everyone was moving to. The mountains, the sunshine, the skiing, the tech jobs, the lifestyle. Colorado was the place people moved to when they wanted a better version of their life. But recently, the story changed. More people are moving out of Colorado to other states than are moving in from other states. So, question is pretty simple. What happened? Why did a state that used to feel like one of the hottest relocation markets in the country suddenly start losing people to other states? For a long time, Colorado had this magic formula. It gave people a high quality of life, access to outdoors, good jobs in certain industries, a strong lifestyle brand, and compared to places like California or New York, it used to feel like you could get a lot more for your money. The last part is where the cracks started to show. Because Colorado is no longer the obvious value play that it used to be. During COVID, the state got flooded with demand. Remote work became normal overnight. People were leaving bigger cities looking for space, looking for lifestyle, and Colorado fit that perfectly. If you could keep your job in California or New York or Florida or wherever and suddenly live in the Rockies, why wouldn't you at least consider it? And in the mountain towns, that was especially obvious. I saw buyers come in who were used to major market luxury pricing, and Colorado mountain real estate looked attractive by comparison. So people bought, and a lot of them bought aggressively. It was emotional, but it was also logical at the time. Low rates, remote work, lifestyle upgrade, powerful combination. I had buyers coming in from California and they were telling me, Anthony, I am ready to offer all cash on this property, close in 2 weeks. I don't need contingencies. And as an advisor, I'm like, you need at least an inspection contingency. But the problem was there was 7 other offers that were offering cash with no contingencies. So as an advisor, I was put in this weird place where I'm like, I don't want to say that you shouldn't have these contingencies because, buyer beware, you want to be able to check on the property. But when there's 7 other people who are offering cash offers with unlimited escalation clauses, what are you supposed to do? But fast forward a few years, and now a lot of that has changed. So reason number 1 people are leaving Colorado is affordability. And this is not just a mountain town problem. This is Denver, Boulder, Fort Collins, Colorado Springs, resort communities, suburbs, literally everywhere. Colorado became expensive enough that people started asking a very reasonable question. I'm gonna pay this much, do I still want the trade-offs? Because that's where people make decisions. They don't just ask, is Colorado expensive? They ask, is Colorado expensive enough that I'd rather be somewhere else? If you're paying a premium, still dealing with traffic, limited housing options, higher insurance, higher taxes or fees, and maybe a job market that doesn't fully match the cost of living, then the lifestyle has to really be worth it. For some people, it is. For others, the math just stopped making sense. And that leads to reason number 2. Not everyone leaving Colorado is leaving because they failed here or hated it here. Some people made a crap ton of money on paper. If you had bought a home before or during the early COVID run-up, especially in certain mountain or front range markets, you may have seen a huge increase in equity. And if you're sitting there with a property that appreciated dramatically in just a few years, selling becomes a real option. This actually happened to my wife and I. We bought our first property out here in 2017, a small little condo in Breckenridge on the ski resort for $360,000. Fast forward 8 years now, and that same condo is worth $700,000. What? That's insane. And we were able to roll those properties into more properties and build a portfolio. So yeah, we did capitalize on a crazy COVID market, much like many other buyers did. Now, maybe you bought because you thought it was your forever home. Then the market handed you a giant gain. Suddenly you were thinking, we could sell this, move closer to family, lower our cost of living, buy something cash somewhere else, or just simply life. That is not panic. That is people making a financial decision. And I think a lot of the Colorado out migration story is not just people running from Colorado, it's people taking gains and redeploying their life somewhere else. Reason number 3 is the remote work reset. Now, this is a big one, right? During COVID, people moved under one assumption: work can happen anywhere. And for a while, it really felt that way. People were doing Zoom calls from mountain homes, living in places they had only vacationed before. But as companies do, they kept changing the rules. And some people stayed remote. Some people went hybrid. Some people got called back 2 or 3 days a week. And some people changed jobs and realized the next best opportunity was tied to a city again. And even if your company doesn't require full-time office work, career advancement can still put you back toward a bigger market. This hits Colorado in two ways. The Front Range, people who moved farther out for space, suddenly have a commute again. Maybe it's not 5 days a week, but it's enough to change the quality of life. In the mountain towns, it's even more obvious. If your job starts requiring you to be in Denver regularly, living in Summit County or Eagle County becomes a totally different conversation. I-70, it's fine when it's just occasional. Case in point right here. It's not fun when your career starts depending on it. That is why some COVID-era moves stopped working. The place didn't change, the work arrangement changed. Reason number 4 is that Colorado's job market is strong in some areas, but it is not the same everywhere. This is where people sometimes oversimplify the state. Colorado does have industry: aerospace, tech, energy, healthcare, professional services, tourism, outdoor recreation, bioscience, but most of that is Denver. The mountain towns, the economy gets way narrower. A lot of the economy ties back to tourism, real estate, construction, property management, hospitality, restaurants, outdoor recreation, and service-based businesses. If you are entrepreneurial, that can be amazing. There's a ton of demand for people who solve problems for homeowners. But if you moved here expecting the same career ladder you had in a major metro area, it's going to be a rude awakening for you. A lot of jobs help you live here, but they don't always help you build wealth here. And if your income doesn't rise with the cost of housing, something eventually breaks. That's one of the biggest reasons people leave here. Not because they don't love the place, they just cannot make the income to housing ratio work. Reason number 5 is housing quality versus price. This is a huge one for buyers, especially people coming from out of state. A lot of Colorado's housing stock, especially in mountain communities, is older. And older doesn't mean bad. There are older homes that have been beautifully maintained, updated, loved, and cared for. But there are also a lot of homes that are functionally fine, but still very dated. So people move here, pay a premium, and then they're looking around going, hold on, why did I just pay this much for something that still needs windows, roof work, mechanical work, new siding, electrical updates, a full interior remodel? I mean, to me, that's incredibly frustrating. And in the mountain markets, the reason is scarcity. You're not just paying for granite counters or a fancy primary suite. You're paying for access, land, views, proximity to lifestyle, proximity to town, the fact that there is not a lot of buildable land, and the fact that people with money always want to be here. But emotionally, that can still be hard for a buyer to accept after the novelty wears off. They may have been willing to overpay during the frenzy because they wanted the lifestyle. Then a few years later, they realize the home still needs a ton of work. Contractors are expensive, and the property is not as easy to own as they thought. So naturally, some people sell. Reason number 6 is the convenience gap. Colorado is beautiful, but it is not always convenient. And this is one of those things people don't fully feel until they live here. On vacation, inconvenience feels like part of the adventure. When you live here, inconvenience is just Tuesday. That doesn't make it bad, it just means you have to want the lifestyle badly enough to accept the trade-off. And I think some people moved here when their life was simpler. Then life changed. They had kids, their parents got older, their job changed, their health changed, their priorities changed, and suddenly convenience mattered more than it used to. That's when people start looking at other states and saying, maybe we want easier. Reason number 7 is policy and regulation, and this is a big one. Again, not a political rant, just reality. People make migration decisions based on policy, whether they say it out loud or not. Some people leave because short-term rental rules changed and their financial plan no longer works the way that they thought it would. The last one is huge in resort communities. A lot of buyers purchased mountain homes with the idea that they would use the property personally and rent it when they're not here. The towns and the counties started tightening short-term rental rules, licensing, caps, zoning, restrictions, local pushback, and whether someone agrees with those policies or not, they absolutely changed the ownership equation. Reason number 8 is family gravity. This one is not talked about enough because it is not as clean as a data point, but it's real. During COVID, a lot of people made decisions around freedom. They could live anywhere. So they picked the place that felt exciting, and Colorado checks that box every single time. But then, life just keeps moving. And once you start thinking in terms of family systems instead of just personal lifestyle, being far from your people can get heavy. I personally feel this more now having a kid. Colorado's amazing and I love raising a family here, but when your family is across the country, you understand the trade-off a bit differently. You can love the place you live and still feel the distance from your support system. Reason number 9 is that the Colorado brand got crowded. For years, Colorado had this reputation as the cool outdoor state, and obviously still is. But when a place becomes extremely popular, the thing that made it appealing can start to feel harder to access. That does not mean you can't still find quiet. You absolutely can, but you need to know where to go, when to go, and how to live around the busy windows, which is why you call me. If someone moved here expecting untouched wilderness every Saturday at 10 a.m. in July, they are probably going to be disappointed. And the final reason is that some people were never moving to Colorado. They were moving to a chapter. This might be the most honest way to say it, I guess, but Colorado was perfect for a season of life. It was the place to work remotely. It was the place to ski. It was the place to be outside. It was the place to reset. It was the place to escape whatever their old life felt like. But not every chapter is meant to be forever. Some people came here, had an amazing few years, built equity, got the outdoor lifestyle out of their system, and then chose the next thing. That doesn't make Colorado a failure. It just makes it a place with trade-offs. So when we say more people are moving out of Colorado than moving in, I don't hear that as Colorado is over. I hear it as Colorado is maturing. The easy growth era is over. The everybody moves here automatically era is over. Now people are being more selective. They're doing the math. For some people, the answer is obviously no. For the right people, the answer is still absolutely yes. If you're thinking about moving here or buying a mountain home here, that's the real takeaway. Don't make the decision based on the old Colorado narrative. Make it based on the current one. The current Colorado is still beautiful, still active, still full of opportunity, still one of the best places in the country if the lifestyle fits you. But it's also expensive, competitive, policy heavy in certain areas, limited in certain job markets, and not nearly as easy as the postcard makes it look. And if you guys have questions about anything that I've talked about in this video or anything on my channel whatsoever, feel free to call me, text me, or email me. We can have a quick chat so we can have a quick chat so we can talk over what you need for you and your family. Thank you guys so much for watching this week's video. My name's Anthony Soul with Live Sotheby's International Realty. I'll see you in the next one.